All right, people, I'm back again. The Lord and finally avenged the Lord of his enemies, our enemies, round about to the Egyptians. Now he's teaching them trust. Teaching them how to keep his commands, teaching them how to observe the Sabbath day. All these things he's doing in the wilderness. They still complaining, like we all do most of the time. Even though the Lord has delivered them, fed them with manna from heaven. Now they're having their first fight since they became separate from the Egyptians. And he's starting to train Joshua up. God is performing all types of miracles, feeding them from heaven. You understand? All types of things. But the people are just hard-headed and stubborn. Now, when I say the people, I'm sure there were some that did not. I'm sure there were some. But you know, it's like they say one bad apple spoils the bunch. When one group start complaining, the rest of them joining. Oh, Lord. Yeah, we do need some water. Somebody probably like, man, you know the Lord that provided water for us already now. You know he gonna help us out again. Man, shut up. You don't even know what you're talking about. You just like the world is today, you gotta put it from a perspective that you can understand. That's how it is now. Like all these woke folks just joining in on the bandwagon. And I just seen every woke person that thought they was woke get put to sleep with words. They don't even know what they're talking about. They so lost, it's ridiculous. But we got to remember what we pray for. Now remember, let's go back to what the Lord said. If they keep my commands and my statutes and follow after me, obey my voice. So we got to understand something. We need to learn to obey God's voice. I give you examples. Today, don't save nothing. Just eat what you can. On the day before the Sabbath, get a double portion. All right. You see, the commands are not always the same for every single day. Moses, the water was dirty. Take a branch, throw it in there. Next time, smite the rock. You see how his commands and his voice, you got to stay in tune with it on a regular. You can't just read the Bible one day and be like, I'm good. You need to understand the Lord's voice because he changes. He don't change us, but the mission is not always the same. The same mission, but not always the same. Do you understand? You see, in the Old Testament, they followed the Lord in spirit and in truth. They talked with him. Moses talked with him. The rest of the people, I guess they didn't have that great of a discernment. You understand what I'm saying? But once you get in tune with the Lord's voice, he tell you different things. Like, I'm gonna tell you something the Lord told me, and I tell it to everybody else. It's not who you trust, it's knowing who to trust when. The thing is, you always trust the Lord, but you cannot trust the same person every day. Take that right there and run with it, I'm telling you. You see, a lot of y'all got friends that y'all just put your trust in him. You tell this person everything. That's not how it works. The Lord lets you know who to trust and when to trust, what to do, when to do it, how to do it. You might have to do it different this way. Like I always put it like this. I work for a moving company. Like, I got pretty long arms. And I load the truck sometimes, or sometimes I don't need a ladder. But somebody who's shorter than me might need a ladder before I need one. Everybody is made different. So our rules and regulations still line up with God's rules and regulations, but how he tells us to do things may be a little different. Do you understand? How he trained us how to do things may be a little different. Just like nobody runs the same way. Most people don't run the same way. And some people are faster than other people running with their fists together. Who knows? That's the world. The Lord knows what's best for you. Just like he told you with the portions of food. Some people got bigger portions because they ate more. They might have needed more. You know, I know skinny people that can eat 3 times more than me. That is being real. I done seen big people who don't eat a lot. But the world, I swear, they eat too much. You see, the world is a messed up place. God ain't. The world is. God understands. He told them, hey, get enough for you and your household. Like every parent get to know their kids. They know how much one kid can eat and how much the other one can't eat. Sorry about that. Guess I ain't have my phone locked in. Let's try to lock this in again. There you go. Yeah, now. You understand? But things like that happen, people. Mistakes happen just like that. But the Lord always sustains you. He always picks you back up and puts you on the right path. If you continue to call on him, you gotta learn his voice. This is a daily basis thing. That's why I say put your cross on. Because when you stop hearing his voice, you stop listening to him, and you stop seeking his leadership, mistakes happen. If you notice something, every time the people murmured, Moses went well, inquired of the Lord, and the Lord would give him instructions. Every time you get in a place you want to murmur and play, inquire of the Lord. Just inquire of him. Just talk to him. He's going to protect you. He's going to give you enough food. But you have not because you asked not. Because you asked amiss. So you can assume it upon your lust. You're going to see that come up soon. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I think the Lord wants me to read through Exodus. It's kind of weird that I read through Exodus around the Passover time, through the time of the Passover in the year. That's great, man. That's great. The Lord is good. But is the Passover gonna fall on the Sabbath every year? No. So what if the 7th day or the 21st fall on Wednesday and the 14th fall on Wednesday? You still observe the Sabbath. It's very simple. It's very simple. You still observe the Sabbath day. But the world has changed it so much. They changed Sabbath day to Sunday worship. But you know, you got to worship the Lord every day. You got to call on the Lord every day. I've told you, I don't buy into that when the preachers be saying, the Lord just want a little bit of your time. I'm going to say it like I say it every time. If you're giving the Lord a little bit of your time, who you giving the rest of your time to? That's what you need to ask yourself. If I'm spending less and less time with the Lord, that means I'm spending more and more time with something else. The Lord understands. But he also understands he wants a personal relationship with you to keep you on the right path. It's that if, it's always there. If you keep my commands. If. So you're trying to stay in line with the if. You're trying to make sure you stay in line with his commands and his statutes. It's all throughout the Bible. It haven't changed. The New Testament haven't taught nothing different. Jesus has more explained it into actually, Jesus explained it pretty good back then too. So he's still explaining it pretty good in the New Testament. It's still the same Jesus. I had to stop myself. God stopped me. Jesus has been teaching us the same way since the beginning of time. It's just we are not trying to grow in tune with his voice. He's teaching us how to be content. He was trying to make them content back then. They never would. Teach them that I'm your provider. And he's trying to teach them how to be a nation. Like I said, 40 years of training. So when you finally get to what I want you to do, you know what I require. The children of Israel had no excuses, just like we ain't gonna have no excuses. God put a book here and told us what to do. Then he give his spirit to even help us do what he told you to do. The comforter. That's gonna help you even more. His spirit is gonna help you be guided throughout your life. I'm telling you, people, the world we live in, they want to misguide you. They want to mislead you. Because the world doesn't want you to keep the Lord's commands. The people of the world. Remember, you got God's people. You got people of the world. There's only two classes. You might have the upper class, the middle class, and the working class, and the poor. But one thing about God, you only got two classes of people. Us versus them. And actually, us are trying to win them over. But them won't listen. Or they won't listen. I'm trying to tell you something today. And the thing is, you're going to start seeing God thin the herd. That's why the Bible says, everybody say, Lord, Lord, will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. Now, take to Exodus journey. Everybody that said, Lord, Lord, didn't enter the promised land. Come on now, look at the math. You see, he already knew that Moses wasn't going to enter into the promised land. I'm not saying Moses did. I don't know. I ain't saying Moses didn't reach the heaven, but just look at the parallels here. He started training Joshua up. Moses probably didn't even know why he started training Joshua up, but he did. But Joshua is going to eventually take the place of Moses. And one of Aaron's sons is going to actually eventually take the place of Aaron. But the thing is, Moses and Aaron start getting a little disobedient. Little things. And sometimes little disobedience leads to big punishments. You know, that's how people are. Be like, well, I just sinned a little. Well, sometimes a little sin leads to a big chastisement. To let you know, God don't condone it. Rather it be failure to follow his lead. Something as simple as that. Failure to follow God's lead can lead you into a world of trouble. So far, so good. Moses is in line. The people still bickering and complaining a little bit. You understand? But Moses is still in tune. He's still doing what the Lord wants him to do. Whatever the Lord tells him to do, he's doing it. But I can understand. Just like I understand a lot of churches that want to get their churches back in order. But then you got the bickering and complaining of the congregation that want to keep the certain ways, keep the certain statutes. But you as a man of God, you have to put your foot down. Like Moses did plenty of times. And sometimes Moses didn't put his foot down. But then when he didn't put his foot down, he ended up putting his foot down anyway. Because we are supposed to be compassionate. But we're not designed to be people pleasers. We're designed to be God pleasers. We got to do what's pleasing to the Lord. That's why a lot of churches are messed up right now. Well, I don't want to observe the Sabbath because I got things I got to do. So let's do it on a Sunday. The pagans worship their sun deity on Sunday. So how about the Christians change their worship Sabbath day till Sunday too, so we can have them on the same day, conforming to their ways and sacrificing our ways. We hold true to traditions of men and making null and void the traditions of who? God. It's written there all over and over again. How we love trying to please man. Because man right in front of us. To me, you don't win souls by sacrificing the truth. You lose souls that way. But it's like a new pattern arising in the world is please the people. Don't worry about what God says. You got preachers doing same-sex marriages. Because I got to make sure the people are happy. I don't want to lose my congregation. How about change that congregation? You don't want to lose your salvation. So you rather lose your congregation or lose your salvation? Make a choice. I'd rather lose the congregation. I'd rather lose friends and family members to grow closer to God. What's the use if I gain the world and lose my soul? And that's what we look at it right now. And God is teaching. 40 years in the wilderness, he's teaching his people. Don't tell them how many personal relationships he didn't gather with certain people. You understand? The story is to focus on the Lord and Moses. But don't tell them some people probably had spiritual insights too. Best believe that. Just like in the church, the Lord is not just talking to the pastor sometimes. He'll talk to this member in the congregation. He's I will be found of them that seek me. So you think that changed from then to now? I'm sure some people were seeking him with their whole heart and their whole soul. Joshua. I believe I know Joshua had to be seeking the Lord. Then he chose Joshua. David was seeking the Lord before he was chose to be king. He was seeking the Lord. It was already in him. It's already in you. Whoever chooses to seek after the Lord is already in you. But you just got to know how to do it right. And the Lord is going to teach you how to do it right. Just like he taught the children of Israel when they left Egypt. He taught them the Passover. Did he teach them, I am your provider? Provide them with food. Teach them how to observe the Sabbath. He even teaching their arms how to walk. How to fight against your enemies. Sometimes war is necessary. It is what it is. You see, some enemies got to be beat in submission. If not, they're going to take over. It's very simple. I know people are like, I hate war. Let me tell you something. If a nation invaded America right now, let's see how many of all these people that hate war change their mind. Let's see how many people change their mind when they start seeing people killed and murdered. Because they're trying to take over. I'm just being real. Sometimes the Lord will make your hands of war. I'm just being real. He did it then. What make you think he won't do it now? He will. You understand? We got to get trained up in proper ways to fight. The Bible tells us to put on the whole armor of God. Well, we got the armor of God, and we got other things. But the main thing we need is the armor of God. It's all the same God. David said he taught his hands to war, taught his hands to bend a bow. God's going to teach your hands to do a lot of things that's best for your ability, best for your purpose. And guess what? You're going to do it. I have faith in you. You understand? Stay the course. You know why we read the Old Testament? So we don't make the same mistakes. And we learn from it too. You know, a lot of people, I only want to read the new. Well, you can't truly understand the new if you don't understand the old. You can't. Because they still trying to separate Jesus from the Old and the New Testament. When it's the same Lord in the Old. Jesus said, before Abraham was I am. You have to pay attention. And if you haven't given your life over to Christ, start the process today. It's very simple. It's easier than you think. Love the Lord with all your heart. Believe. And then he's going to start working on your soul. He's going to start teaching you his commands. He's going to start teaching you his statutes to observe them, and then your light going to start shining, and then other people going to start observing it. That's the process. Have a blessed day.